Hello and welcome to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you here at the Standard Glass Studios at Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM. New studios, by the way, the Murchison Building, 9th floor. Kev, good day.
Cannot hear myself.
You got yourself now?
Nope.
Still no?
Nope. We'll work this out later.
Okay, we'll get to that in the break. Appreciate you guys jumping on, joining us live. We want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible. One of those being Dr. Greg Veman at Seacoast Skin Surgery. Dr. Veman also has a fantastic ministry called Everlasting Strength. You can check that out at everlastingstrength.org. Phone number for them is 910-256-2100. Also want to recognize Chris Hutchins and his team at Guaranteed Rate, our exclusive mortgage partner. More than 20 years of experience in the mortgage business. Chris and his team are right off of Military Cutoff. If you're buying a home, refinancing a home, make sure to give Chris and his team a call, 910-344-0304. All right, so Kev, we're working through the technical difficulty here of the sound. Is it still where it was?
You're killing me.
Okay.
Your voice, I can't hear mine.
Too loud. Okay. There you go.
I'm sure everybody wants to hear about this, but it is a distraction. You can turn it back up, but I couldn't hear myself. So.
I got you.
We'll laugh about it and all that. Still don't hear me, but I can hear you if you talk. So anyway,
okay.
Fun stuff. Probably should have worked this out 10 minutes ago instead of now.
Well, listen, on the fly, baby. That's how we sometimes have to go by the seat of the pants.
Yeah.
So, Kev, we have been in the last few weeks walking through the idea of getting past go, getting beyond go. Show is, for our listeners, of course, Wake Up Our Faith. The idea is if you are a Christian and professing Christ, how do you begin to live that out between Sundays? One of the challenging pieces is moving beyond whatever go is, which is just going to church and so forth. And last week we dove into this idea about dreaming, vision, and purpose, and we want to carry on that conversation.
Right.
So let's pick up where we left off for our listeners.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. That means everybody can, hopefully. Yeah, well, we call it getting past go, and at some point we're going to move past go ourselves, but we've been kind of planted on this idea because there's a lot of obstacles to, the hardest thing is the first step, right? So there's a lot of things that keep people in the comfort zone, which is, Jesus saved me, and yes, I believe that, and then, okay, now it's back to life. Well, if you really believe that, then your whole life has to express that. Otherwise, you're just mailing it in, and that's, you're leaving everything on the table. So that said, getting past go, we moved through a variety of different things, points or items. The last couple of weeks, last week and this week, we're looking at something we're calling a trajectory, which is really when you're at go, knowing where you want to go and looking at firing from the right place. So, you tilt the cannon up just enough and you're going to hit a different place or the right place versus tilting it down and you're going to, it down to a line drive. So anyway, trajectory simply means firing from the right spot, teeing it up, however you want to look at that. So we went through dreaming, personal vision, purpose. Go ahead.
Well, just to add to that, I mean, I think in the Christian world, like the question is discipleship, right? It's like, well, how do you do discipleship? How does discipleship happen? And every church, and they're all trying to figure out this thing, but there's this trajectory. It's like, okay, well, we got people to a starting line, like his salvation, but then where to from here? And it seems like it all is going in different directions. We're trying to streamline that and give people a real path to walk on. And also, too, as an organization, just to let our listeners and viewers know, I mean, this is what we do with people in their own lives to make it personal so they can actually live it out. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, that's right. Well, in a world where it's soundbite and, everything's marketing and you have pastors buying sermons online and delivering them and trying to do whatever works from a marketing perspective to gain following or maintain or survive even. Maybe survival is a better word because it's not, that model is not working so well anymore.
Right.
But what it does do and has done well, and we salute that, is it's great at evangelism. Mm-hmm. It's great at broadcasting the good news and getting people to the narrow gate, and then But where's Jesus pointing? That's what we're about. So discipleship is the thing that this Sunday model doesn't work very well with because they don't have time. Sure. Logistically, that has to be carried out through one-on-one, just like it was in the Bible. It has to be carried out in relationships throughout the week. So anyway, that's the big old context. But so part of the point and shoot thing is you got to go through your dream, personal vision, and that leads to your dream helps develop your personal vision. This is just a recap, and it gives you a picture of purpose. So that's where we are. We're looking at, this word's been thrown around for, 15 years or so, purpose. Well,
probably ever since Rick Warren wrote Purpose-Driven Life. I mean, that kind of, in my mind at least, that was a catalyst for it. So, that was mid-'90s probably.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? I don't know.
I think it was early 2000s.
Well, then there you go.
But it's been a while. So I don't know the exact year, but point is I think God used that to help people see more clearly that you do have, there's a point to you being here. So the way we express it is, why are you still here after you've been saved? And I think people aren't asking that question. They're just trying to either survive or achieve comfort. And all of that ultimately leads to either pain or mediocrity.
Yeah.
So if you want to get outside of all that, you have to do something extraordinary, which everybody's got that in them.
Sure.
So one of the things we say in this whole thing about purpose, in the context of purpose is, and this is our tagline even, uncover your genius, because it's kind of hidden within you. You got to uncover it. If you do that, then you'll discover your why. So that's something that is outside of you that you're about. So uncover your genius. It's in you, and you'll discover your why. And that's what we do. We help people walk through that process from a discipleship relational standpoint. That said, we're talking about it on the radio to help give some nuggets and maybe some encouragement for people to step in.
Well, I think it's encouraging that folks need to understand is that this is out there. I remember, gosh, man, last week I had the privilege to go up to New Hampshire with this Gear Up program, and it was a bunch of middle school students, 2,000 of them, which wore me out, by the way. But it was a fantastic opportunity just to see these kids coming into the room. And I really had this feeling that, man, so many of these kids do not have the blessing of understanding that their lives matter. They're put into a school system and, it's sit down, behave, and do all this kind of stuff. And they're just running through this cycle, So to have a message that people matter, you really wonder how many people have paused to consider that truth and then to believe it in their heart that this is why they're here. And so that's the starting point for this. But then you get to launch into this trajectory. So you mentioned last week dreaming big, then the vision, and you said vision is a picture of purpose.
Yeah, it's something that God's already put in you, and you have to kind of uncover. All of this is kind of peeling back the onion, but it's in you already. But purpose itself is about others, so that's your why. And then just kind of glancing down here at the notes, it's I want to read these different. There's different scenarios or a different way to look at it, but it's all the same. It's kind of the same pill in every bottle. So look at it this way. Purpose, the problem that you were designed to solve, a need that you were designed to meet, a system that you were designed to improve, an idea that you are designed to give birth to. Ultimately, it's a landscape that you are meant to impact. And so we will come back, and there's a lot of metaphors, but think about it as a need, a system, an idea, even a landscape.
I love that. A landscape you were meant to impact.
Yeah.
That's powerful. We're going to take a quick break here and then come back into those, Kev, after the short break here. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in to, watching and listening. Wake Up Our Faith. We are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Tune in. Let us know where you're listening from, and do connect with us. We'll be back for more right after this. Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you live on this wonderful Wednesday. It is Azalea Festival week here in the beautiful port city of Wilmington, North Carolina. And Kev, that's actually the first time we ever met in person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we changed the Azalea Festival now to the first time we met in person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we came and visited we had talked, but hey, I can hear myself now. Wow.
Yes, victory.
Yeah, whatever just happened was good.
Victory.
Something changed.
Victory.
So I'm not insane. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah, we celebrate that. That's good, man. God's doing some good things through our friendship and relationship. Brought us together from miles apart. So here we are.
And here we are.
And it's a beautiful sunny day.
That it is.
We're overlooking the most decorated battleship of World War II. That's pretty cool to me.
It is awesome. I tell you what, the new view from the studios down here is fantastic. I just love looking down the river and downtown in general. So it is great. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM. Nick Craig working hard in the studio to produce the show, and we appreciate his effort always, and we enjoy being with you guys. Our corporate partners make this show possible. Want to make sure we recognize them and give them a special thank you. One of those being Century 21 Swalyer and Associates. This is Southeastern North Carolina's largest, most successful Century 21 agency, actually most successful in the Carolinas. More than 30 years of experience, offices in the Tri-County areas here in Brunswick, Pender, New Hanover counties. If you're buying or selling a home, make sure you give them a call, 910-256-0021. Also, a special thanks to the folks up at the Onslow County office, Jacksonville Century 21 Swalyer and Associates, for partnering with us to put on a Youth Leadership Day here recently at Jacksonville Country Club. It was a very, very special event, and we'll be doing more of that here in the near future. Kev, today we're talking about purpose and how we begin to step into it. So let's pick up where we left off. I'm just going to reiterate what you said. You said purpose is a landscape that you were intended to impact. Did I get that right?
Yeah. It's a need, a system, an idea, or a landscape. And those are just sort of our terminology for helping people step into it. I think purpose is so overused anymore. And it's, everybody tries to monetize it and make a course and, this and that. And, well, if you take the personality test, you're this or you're that. And I think those things are interesting and helpful, maybe encouraging somewhat. But I still find that most people, and I don't know the exact metric, but 95% of the people I've ever talked to or around, it has no impact on their life other than just a moment. So what we want to do is actually make it valuable to you and help you walk it out. Purpose must be discipled. It must be carried out through relationship, through wise counsel, and that's what we see in Scripture. That these guys walked together. It wasn't about going to church together on Sunday, and but their purpose, God's purpose for them. In other words, what God created them to do, it was already there. That has to be carried out over time, and just a lot more to it than a quick course.
Yeah. Well, we want to monetize and microwave and fast forward everything. It's like I remember when I was a kid, the VCRs. You remember? The VCR, and it's like flowing through. So you had to fast forward through commercials or whatever. Now it's just like, boom, I'm going to go to this exact point. Everything has been hyper focused, it's been fast forwarded. And in the process of this, we're missing purpose, which can't be done that way. Yeah. So that's the downside of this, instantaneous society that we've created.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's like, going to guitar. What is the thing on your phone or your iPad? What's the program? GarageBand?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's fun to play with. But if you really want to be good at playing guitar or keyboard, you got to sit down and just be alone and jam for a while and just really pour your heart in it for long periods of time, and then it just becomes natural. It's a whole different thing than swiping or so anyway. Purpose is really important, but the word's overused. So we created these things and walk through them with people, and but those are the things that there's something the world needs. And this is all by God's handiwork and intention. It's not an accident that you just it is that vacancy in history and that you get to fill. And it gives you purpose. It gives you value, satisfaction, and it's all wonderful training for kingdom ultimate, living in eternity. But right now, here, it's now. So you got to carry that out. How you do that is to understand it, and you shoot from the right place, and then you walk through it. It takes time. So anyway, that's we keep putting context around everything, but I think today maybe what we're trying to do is really redefine purpose for what it is, and how that begins to be part of your trajectory in getting past go.
I love the word redefine in this context, Kev, because helping people understand that there was a problem that you were created to solve. It institutes this belief that the world is waiting for your genius to be poured out into it.
Absolutely.
Whether or not it realizes it or not,
right.
The world is waiting for your genius to be unleashed.
Yeah.
And when someone is courageous enough to step into that, when someone is willing to press through, regardless of the naysayers and the fears and all that stuff,
right.
That's what actually changes things.
Yeah.
These are the people whose lives matter 1,000 years from now.
That's right.
These are the people who are in history books. These are the people who actually change things.
That's right.
But they all had to go through this. So to think that you're going to get there without having to go through this is just a fallacy.
Well, yeah, God gives you a choice. And that's the wonderful thing here is he doesn't make you do this. So you have a choice between mediocrity and comfort and all that, and what will you lay down for him? And is it your house? Is it your comforts? Is it your income? And people don't like that. They'll act like it, they'll say it, but then they won't really go there because they're afraid. Well, if you go to the place you're truly afraid of and lay it all down anyway, or get around people who've been there, it removes all that, and you're in. Let your inner beetle out, so to speak. People who've risen to the very top of what they're meant to do. John and Paul being these incredible songwriters. That's just an example. But it's a landscape that you're meant to impact. So let's look at it this way. One of the things that God gave me a few years ago about all this was every wave begins as a ripple, but every wave must peak before it can impact the world around it. So you start small, but there's a consistency in that rolls through and builds to a peak. Well, a lot of people never get to that peak because they're afraid of the, what the cost of it. What's it going to cost to impact the world? Well, if you're willing to give up everything for that, what you're actually doing is emulating God, because he gave up the most important thing. So are we unwilling to give everything when he's already done it? And why wouldn't we? Well, number one, because we don't really believe he did that, or we just are stuck in fear. And if you're stuck, then you will never change or impact the world the way that God intended. That's a pretty convicting argument. Really can't get around it if you're being honest. So most people just kind of go back into the comfort of their own understanding and fall asleep, and it's life is good as normal. But you're 80 years old pretty quick, and then you look back going, what in the heck? Had a lot of stakes, played a lot of golf, did some good deeds along the way, but did that really change the world?
But it's dust.
It is. It really is. I mean, and even the people who achieve or step into this thing and really achieve something, their life is quick. And it's funny, you see a lot of these people dying really early in life, or based on a normal lifespan.
Yeah.
But anyway, think of it as a landscape that you're designed to impact, like the beach. When the wave hits the beach, it changes the beach.
Yeah.
You got to peak first.
And we're getting ready to take a short break. I just want to throw this in there. I think that having the willingness to even press into this and not change the channel is the key, man.
Yeah.
Is because, like you said, it's just there's so much fear. You said it last week. The gravity of comfort is mediocrity.
That's right.
And there's a lot of things that look maybe excellent, but when the dust settles, it's just mediocrity.
Yeah. Yeah, steak doesn't taste too good when you've had 3 of them already. It's just kind of chewy.
Yeah.
Yucko.
Done it again.
Yeah.
Guys, this is Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams. Appreciate you tuning in. And we'll be right back after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith, the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside-down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you live in studios here at Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Really appreciate those of you who are tuning in online today. Encourage you to let us know where you're listening from in the comments, and throw a question out. We'd love to maybe address that on air as the conversation allows. I want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible, one of those being our dear friend Chris Riley and the folks at Fountain Financial Associates. They're in the business of giving clients and families a better life. They call it keeping promises. Many thanks to Chris and the folks at Fountain Financial. Phone number's 910-256-8882. Kev, one of the recent developments that we've had with our organization, Uprint, that we're starting to roll out here just to let our listenership know about is this partnership program where we have the ability to connect kind of our people with folks who are specialists in their field, like Chris Riley with financials, or we've got Melissa Thomas and her kind of financial stewardship coaching, and it's just exciting to see this thing come together after we've been on the air for a couple years now, but here we are with resources. And I guess what I'm trying to say to these folks is, for those listening and watching, we are here to help you, and we can help you.
Right.
We were just talking in the break about your Oprahs or your Rick Warrens or these whatever icons that we put on stages and kind of immortalize. They might have good wisdom and good nuggets and good teaching, but they're not going to walk with people, really.
Right.
Not going to walk with you.
Well, logistically, they can't. They don't have time. And I mean, it's just not going to happen. And people pay a lot of money for Tony Robbins courses and stuff. But we walk with people like face to face, blood and guts, and give till it hurts. And that's the difference. And maybe we're at a point where we can do that, but we want to build this around that kind of heart.
Sure.
And but the lessons are incredibly valuable, and I think they're even better than the sort of Tony Robbins deep depth or whatever, John Maxwell. I think we're going deeper and further. We're caring about people in a way that is profound, and we're seeing people's lives changed. I mean, we could go on and on, but it's real, and it's just jump in at whatever level you want. But it starts with, that cup of coffee a month. Jump in the Portable Faith community. You get some really powerful texts every morning, but you can go all the way up to, doing the seminars, or just going through, a la carte thing that you want to accomplish. And anyway, it's great.
Yeah, we just encourage you guys, get connected, uprint.life, YOUPRINT.LIFE. And a lot of exciting stuff coming, a lot of exciting stuff happening. Anyway, I'm just pumped about it. Yeah. So, Kevin, today we're talking about purpose, and we're creating a trajectory for people to kind of walk this out. And I think the key takeaway for me at this point in the conversation is that folks need to know is that your purpose is a vacancy in history that you were created to fill. Right. It's a landscape that you were meant to impact. It's a problem that you were created to solve. It's a need that is there that you were created to fill that need. I love that language difference that just really ignites some inspiration in people that are sitting out there going, why am I still here?
Yeah.
So anyway, carry on from there.
Well, all right. So we've explained what purpose is, and by the way, I think it's a little bit. It's much better, in my view, to say it's God's purpose, and He created you to fill it. So it really belongs to Him, not you. And, so when you hear people saying they have a course or, they're going to monetize this whole purpose thing, it starts to get a weird, icky kind of feel to it. But if you just throw all that out and look at relationships, discipleship, walking with people, especially wise counsel, people who've lived this out and have the wisdom to carry it out and help you, what you're looking at is God's purpose, and that is that wonderful vacancy. It's a vacancy sign. It's got your name on it, but you have to step into that. So there's a lot to all of that. But you want to be able to look back either from heaven or toward the end of your life and go, man, I left nothing on the table. I did it. I followed his will. He found faith in me. He's pleased, etc. And you will impact people. Like Mother Teresa is a great example of this. So that said, how do we understand? How do we understand how to sort of unwrap that thing? So that's this idea that the solution. So we mentioned it's a problem that a need you need are designed to solve. A need you're designed to meet. A problem you're designed to solve. A system, an idea, etc. All right. So I'm a little tongue-tied this morning, but essentially the solution. You are the solution.
Mm-hmm.
So you can sum it up that way. So where does that solution come from? That's the next question in this trajectory, in this, what's the next 10 feet of this thing look like? Your solution, you are the solution when you become that vessel, and then God works through the vessel. It's like a conduit. A tree doesn't produce fruit or a branch. It bears fruit. So the fruit actually comes through it. And that's the same process. But anyway, so our solution flows from our gifts. So just take that in. The solution that you are, it flows from our gifts.
Mm.
So if you kind of go back down the tree, you're looking at a piece of fruit coming out of a branch, you go back down the tree a little bit, what you see is your gifts. So it comes from that place. That seems obvious, but there's more to it than that. So you have to understand your gifts. And that's why we say uncover your genius and you'll discover your why. You have to start with your gift set. Now, genius isn't just your gifts, but at least in the way we're looking at it. So the solution, or you being the solution, is or the impact, it flows from your gifts. And a lot of people shove those things away, and they don't press into them even a little bit, even making that little investment in their life to spend some time on that and let those things develop. A lot of people shove them away. The old starving artist versus, it doesn't pay the bills, so I'm not going to do it.
Sure.
That kills the spirit.
Yeah. Well, you sleep on the gifts for long enough and they begin to die. They literally do. They wither up. It's like you take the fruit off the tree and you toss it in the corner. It's going to get rotten.
Yeah.
And so recognizing it early. Another thing you said a minute ago, Kevin, to me that was really, really powerful is a solution is the answer. Like, it's not part of the answer. A solution is the answer.
That's right.
I think about mathematics. Like, the solution to a problem, that is the answer. And so there's no ambiguity here. Like, you are the answer to this problem. So, like, if you were created to, resolve world hunger or, whatever it is, invent the next, greatest thing, you are the solution. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not left undone.
That's right.
We had Crystal Sutherland comment here in the things. This is Ephesians 2:10. It's like this thing created beforehand. Like, God put this in your DNA.
That's right. Yeah. It's all, he's got it figured out. And the best thing is to increase your listening skills and not try to be clever. When you let that thing out and develop it, let God develop it through you, you start to get a picture of it. So it's just
you're trying to solve it instead of just being the solution. I love that.
That's right. You're trying to take it instead of just let him do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the solution flows from your gifts. All right. So if you want to, so you've got to uncover your genius to discover your why. And that, again, that's what we walk people through. But most people get stuck here. And they take all these tests, these personality things, and, I don't know what they're all called, but, are you this animal or that animal? Or you, INFT or whatever. And I'm not saying these things are invalid. They just don't really produce fruit.
Yeah.
It gives us a conversation around the water cooler. That's really about it.
Well, it also puts you in a box. So for years, people change. Like my skin cells are replacing themselves.
That's right.
My hair's growing. I'm growing. We're growing.
You're not the same physical body that you were 10 years ago. That's right. It's a good point. But yeah, that's a great point though. That there's so many nuances. That's why we use the fingerprint. It's unique. It's just a great way to express how unique each of us are in a bodily manifestation. God took the time and care and consideration to make us. Our job is to uncover that and be obedient to it.
Yeah.
Number one job.
That's it, man. The number one job. Guys, we got one more segment here in the first hour. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, back for more right after this. Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith, the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. We've got a nice little audience here on Facebook Live. Folks, feel free to chime in. Let us know where you're listening from. Also, it's Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitter. Kevin Adams. Right here, pound that, Kevin. We are live in the Standard Glass Studios, Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM. I want to let you guys know that the show is actually rebroadcast into 2 podcasts every week. So all of the content here can be accessed through the podcast, which is on Spotify, iTunes.
Yeah.
Wake Up Our Faith is the whole show. And then the second hour, Faith in Business, is a separate stream as well. Just encourage you guys to go check that out. And we would love if you'd actually leave a review. Let us know that you're listening. It's helpful for us to get other folks kind of in the mix. So a little request there, if you will. Our corporate partners make the show possible. One of those being the Honeycutt Group. This is a family-owned insurance brokerage company right here in Wilmington. More than 10 years in the business. Chad has a fantastic team. Whether it's auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, we encourage you to go get a competitive quote from the Honeycutt Group. A lot of different carriers there to be able to help you out with your insurance needs. Give them a call, 910-338-1773. So, Kev, we're talking about purpose today, putting a fresh lens on it. In the last segment, we talked about purpose being a problem that you were created to solve, and the solution to that problem flowing out of your gifts. So we're going to pick up from there.
Yeah. This is it's like a chiropractic adjustment. You have to go through this over and over through a relationship. It's best to walk through this with someone. And again, that's what we do. Because it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of attention, but it's more consistent over and over and over. And you get into a mode where your sense of adventure really grows. So. But unlocking your gifts, so the purpose or that solution, to put it in that term, it flows from your gift set. So it just begins to happen. It's like God says, labor to enter my rest. Well, that's paradoxical. Unless you've got to let down your own will, trade your will for the desires of your heart. Take on His will, and He'll give you the desires of your heart. It's amazing. So the same sort of way here is you've got to let go, but you've got to focus on the things that, at least spend some time on that, the things that God's put in you, these wonderful gifts. But taking tests and checking off and labeling yourself or putting yourself in a box it really doesn't accomplish any more than a self-help book does for your marriage. And how many of those books have people read, and it doesn't really help. It makes you feel good for a moment, Venus and Mars and whatever. So
I'm sorry. I couldn't hold it in. He said Venus and Mars and whatever. I'm sorry. I just had to laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's funny because it's true.
Right.
It makes a lot of money for, people with lots of hairspray on or whatever, sitting in a box and doing sound bites. And I'm being a little cynical here, but the point is if you bottom line this, the only thing that truly works is Jesus. Now, that's not enough to just say that and put it on a Post-it note and walk around saying that. We have to unpack that. He is our model, not just for good behavior, but for sonship. So this is where all this comes from. So keep that in mind if it sounds weird to you. This is what this is. All right, so gifts are, here's the key, gifts are wrapped. Your gifts, you want to know who you are from a gift perspective. These are wrapped in the desires of your heart. So you picture your gift. If you're good at whatever, plug in whatever we have multiple gifts, but we have especially a spiritual gift. There's so much to this. I don't want to waste our time just trying to unpack all of it, but just say there's a gift, there's a thing, right? That just works for you. That is what's inside. The wrapping paper are the desires of your heart. So if you want to start to understand who you are, you've got to start pressing into those desires. Yeah. And that's the first thing the enemy wants to talk you out of.
Yeah, the desires are bad.
Yeah.
Suppress the desires.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, God said, I'll give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
Delight yourself in me and I'll give them to you. He wants you to have them. I mean, we're His idea. Those desires were His idea. People don't quite get that unless you walk through it with them. The outcome you're already connected to. We are His idea. So gifts are wrapped in the desires of the heart. And so where we can go from here, and we'll talk about this next week perhaps, how to unlock those gifts.
Well, I want to work backwards.
Okay.
So, hey, I got my Jesus sticky note. I'm just going to put it right there. So,
yeah.
So you have to tune in, go back and rewind it. That was for Kev. So, does this work backwards? So, like, what I'm getting at is people go, well, I don't know my purpose, or, I don't know what the thing is. I mean, could someone...
people say that all the time so they can run from it.
Right. But I'm saying, though, they might not know the purpose, but they do know what their gifts are, or they do know what the desires of their heart are. So what I'm saying, can it work backwards for them as a way to get to the purpose thing? So if they might know the desires of the heart, but they don't necessarily understand the purpose, could they start from the gift place?
Yeah. I mean, the point, I think that's the point. And there's a whole lot of maybe confusing, batting it back and forth that we're just having fun with. But yeah, there is a process to this. But you have to understand that God has given you desires. These are good desires that He put in your heart. All of it helps the whole process. But you have to learn how to separate your own will from those desires. And that's one of the problem areas. That said, the way to unlock your gifts, let's go back to gifts and set desires aside. Those desires help point you toward your gift set because they work together. Mm-hmm. All right, it all works together like a puzzle. But let's just talk about gifts. How do you unlock the gifts? You may know you have something, but the way it is unlocked, the gift itself, is it's through overcoming obstacles. It's through struggle. Now, that's the part that people don't like. But God will unlock that gift when you step into a problem, when you step into an obstacle or a struggle. And, so your gifts plus wisdom plus faith, that's genius. You're genius when it's uncovered. You know your why. When you know your why, and you've seen God move through experience, you have experienced the ways of God, there's no way back. You're moving forward, and you will change people, the world. It's the red
way
pill.
It was created to be.
Exactly. And that's how Jesus lived as a son. That's how He meant us to live. It's not just about emulating His behavior. It's about living from heaven into the earth as a son.
Yeah.
People don't like it when I say, well, it's heaven to earth. Well, He says to be in the world, not of it. So if you're not of it, then where are you from? He also says He's sitting at the right hand of the Father, and He says, you're in me, and I'm in you. Well, we're in Him in heaven. It's there, and He's in us in the earth. You see, it works just like we are conduits. And we've got to get a hold of this and start to live from that place. It's done. The victory's there. Now we got to step into it. We do have a job to do while we're here.
Yeah.
You see?
Well, and I love. We talked about this during the break, man. Is stop wasting time.
Absolutely.
Stop wasting time.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look back and you've maybe lost someone recently, or you understand how fragile and precious life is, like, stop wasting time. Like, so many people are waiting on things, waiting on money, waiting on people's approval, waiting on whatever. Like, get on with the business of becoming you, because that's what will change things.
Yeah. And just real quick, along those lines, the stop wasting time thing, that's not resting. Resting, watching an episode of Gilligan and having a cream soda is okay. Worry, anxiety, fear, dwelling in these areas, that's wasting time.
Yes. Man, that's so good. That is so good. I've got a page full of notes right here, Kev. This is fantastic stuff. I just encourage folks to sit with this and just give us a call. Reach out.
Yeah.
Like, we're here to help. This is what we're about. We can help. I want to encourage you guys to check out the Portable Faith Community. This is a way to stay connected with this community, this growing movement of people.
Yeah.
That's wakeupmyfaith.com. It's a challenging thought each morning. Spend a couple of minutes in honest reflection, and it's less than a couple bucks.
And it can be tax deductible. A way to support what we do. I mean, you're buying us a cup of coffee. That's it.
Yeah.
And we're giving you something powerful.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic thing. Guys, we're going to be back with Emily Parker of Journey to Heal Ministries talking about the Rise race run, Rise Up race run here soon. Matt Hem, Kevin Adams, back for more right after this.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of Wake Up Our Faith, the show dedicated to helping you live out faith where you spend the majority of your time, and that is between Sundays. The studio has been lightened by the presence of one Mrs. Emily Parker.
Yes.
Hey, Emily.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Oh, good. Emily,
Good.
So glad that you are here today. I'm Matt Ham. This is Kevin Adams. We're going to be talking with Emily here in a minute. Emily is with Journey to Heal Ministries. She's going to share about that and a fantastic event that we're behind they have coming up here to raise awareness and some funds for their mission and ministry. And Emily, I just got to tell you, you've got this following. We've got like these viewers here that are saying like, hey, I'm from North Dakota on to watch Emily.
Oh, that's my sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We just want to make sure that we know that they know that we appreciate them. Guys, this show is made possible by our corporate partners. We want to recognize them, one of those being Physical Therapy Services of Wilmington. That's ptservicesofwilmington.com on the web. Serving Southeastern North Carolina since 1983. Family owned and operated with more than 100 years of experience there in the clinic. Go see them at 17th Street or the new office at Porter's Neck, 910-763-8286. All right, I'm done talking.
Well,
for now. Shocker.
Well, we've got a lot to do here, and there's some flexibility with the timing in the segment. So, Emily, for those who don't know, Emily is a really good friend and just a wonderful human being, great parent, spouse, all those wonderful things. And so this comes from a place of affection, brotherly affection. But I think what we want to start out with is not just the ministry part of it, but your heart, where you've come from, whatever you want to share. And we can ask you lots of questions. So, but just share. Tell us how you got from where you were to where you are now, as far as your heart being poured into this ministry to help women in particular.
Okay. Well, so I have a daughter. She's 16 now. Mm-hmm. And when she was almost 11 years old, she came out and said that she had been sexually abused. And we were floored. We knew that there were some issues that she had been struggling with, and but we just never expected that would be it. Mm-hmm. And so we got into the, throes of the legal stuff and all that takes place when you are confronted with that reality. And it lasted for a year. We went through, I honestly call it the year of hell. And during that time, we were at the Carousel Center for her to do trauma-focused therapy. And so I spent a lot of time on the couch at the Carousel Center. And part of that was a relief because she was in a safe place with somebody that she was processing her trauma with. And it gave me a chance to process, not in front of her. But then it was also just like this weight. And while I was there, I knew that this was not the end. I knew that we were not going to be defined by our story, not going to be defined by the abuse that had taken place. And I didn't know what it would look like. Honestly, I sat there and I was like, well, Lord, I guess I'll write a book one day. But I'm a mom and I'm a homeschool mom and I ain't got time for that. So it really I just really was like, I know that you're going to use this. And so from 2013 to 2014, we were in survival mode. Fast forward to 2016, I ended up getting counseling for what we had been through. It took that long for me to go and take care of myself. And I ended up getting connected with Crystal Sutherland from Journey to Heal Ministries through a sexual trauma seminar at the church. And from there, it just kind of grew. And then last year, she asked me to be a part of her board. And so I said, okay, I don't feel like I'm equipped to do that, but I'll say yes. And so I did. And so I'm the secretary of the board and also the events coordinator. And it has, from 2016 when I spoke at the sexual trauma seminar, as soon as I got done with my talk, I had a woman come up to me and say, "You have no idea how proud I am of you." Because I was that little girl and my mom didn't believe me.
Bless.
And I knew then, I was like, Lord, I asked you to use this for one person and you already have. And so just from that, like, I've just watched it. I have been amazed at how something that is so vile and so just wretched from just makes you sick can grow into something so beautiful and that God can use to bring people to him. I mean, really is what it is. He turns their heart to him to say, I will give you the hope and the healing that you need. So that's what we do at Journey to Heal Ministries.
You know, that, I know, Matt, feel free to jump in, but I just wanted to make a point. You know, we were talking earlier about struggle, obstacles. This is what unlocks all this. And if you're going to have this stuff in life anyway, not necessarily that, but it's a big obstacle. It's also a big call, and you've stepped into that. And so this is the faith in business. It's not necessarily about business itself. It's living it out during the week, and you're doing that. So, but this comes from a place of hunger and passion, birthed out of an obstacle. And I mean, I don't want to diminish it by calling it an obstacle, but that's what it is.
Oh, definitely.
But you and your family, like, I don't want to get sappy, but you guys are some of the best people I've ever met, and y'all have just been really good friends. But you're taking that same love to people who are in this incredibly difficult place, like that lady. You know, she was feeling that.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead, Matt. I just wanted to mention that whole obstacle thing.
Thank you.
No, I just get this picture, like I have an image of like this basement in this old musty house, just dark and stank and ugly and full of fear.
Stank,
that's a good word, right? But you walk in with this light. Like that's what this is this people are in this dark place. They're in this place where there is no hope, there is no light. They're questioning everything. They're broken, they're betrayed, and then here you get to step in and be this light. Even in the midst of the fact that you were in a similar space at one point in time. And like, I love how the gospel, like, and how Jesus and how the Father is so gracious to honor his word that says that all things work, right? You know, for the good. And like, this is the testimony of that lived out. I think so many people are willing to quote that verse and go, all things work for the good. But this is it lived out. This is flesh and blood. This is what it looks like. And just you saying it's not easy is kind of an understatement. But what has been, from your perspective, Emily, what do you think has been the most eye-opening part of this since you've begun to step into it with your family?
Honestly, the biggest thing that for me has been how many survivors do this alone. How many kids face this and tell their parent, and their parent doesn't believe them. And to me, it just blows my mind because, I mean, I'm a mama bear, and if you mess with my kid, I'm on you, and you will not win.
I can't move over here.
So, I mean, I will not back down. Like, I will die before I back down. There's just no question about it. And so to hear I hear so often women say, my parents didn't believe me, or they believed me and they just said, oh, well, get over it, you know? And it's like, this is a life-changing thing that happens, and it impacts every part of your life. And so that, I think, would be the biggest thing that's just been a shock, you know, the shock factor.
Let's see, how we doing here on time?
We've got like 40 seconds till music kicks in.
Okay, I've got a question, but we can hold it till we'll keep going. Go ahead.
I wanted to share the mission statement from Journey to Heal before we go into break, and then we'll jump back into the question. The mission statement of Journey to Heal is: we endeavor to help women heal from past sexual trauma by leading them to hope and healing found in Jesus Christ through providing helpful resources, biblical mentoring, and life-giving support in community to help women go beyond merely surviving their past to thriving in the abundant life they were created to live.
Yeah, we'll say that again, too.
Yeah.
I can't process all that. It's good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And
glad you got that in.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we give a thank you and a nod for Journey to Heal and Crystal and the work that she's doing there. We got more with Emily Parker here, especially about the Rise Up Race Series and the Hope Run coming up here in Brunswick County later this month. Yes. Guys, wake up our faith in business. We'll be back for more right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Faith in Business, a part of Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, with the co-founders of Uprint, a faith and personal development organization right here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Also part of the Life Center, which is our nonprofit arm, where we help people remove obstacles and live the life of impact they were created for. We are joined in studio by the wonderful and good friend, Miss Emily Parker. So appreciate her being here today, just sharing her story. And Emily, just thank you for the courage that it takes to not only stand up and hear and be on the radio, but like what you've been doing in this community over the past few years. It's just powerful. It's so needed, dealing with sexual abuse, sexual trauma, and just giving people hope in the midst of that. So Many thanks to you there. Want to recognize our corporate partners for making this show possible. One of those being Freeman Landscaping, largest privately owned land and irrigation firm in Eastern North Carolina. Many thanks to Robin and her family-owned business there for being a part of this. They've been doing this since 1992, both residential and commercial landscaping. I'm imagining this time of year is busy for them. We see the Freeman trucks everywhere we go, so many thanks to Freeman Landscaping. So diving back into the conversation with Emily here, Kev, before we went to break, I know you had a question.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a more of a comment in conjunction with a question, I guess. When I think part of what you were getting at a minute ago was the how prevalent this is. Mm-hmm. It's out there, and yet it's hidden, and it's hidden out of fear and culture, and just so let's go back. We go back way back. It was there too, mm-hmm. and generationally, and I'm going out on a little bit of a limb here. It's in my history. So it's probably in a lot of our history, mm-hmm. and we don't even know it. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed enough to have had that discussion with a parent and who was abused, and it breaks my heart to talk about it, but it creates incredible strongholds. But my point, what I'm getting at here, is how important this work is, because it is generational. Mm-hmm. That thing that happened a few generations back even affects me, my siblings, through my parent. And that is a huge. So I didn't know. My question is for you, just to create that context, have you thought about that in as you're moving forward and you know, your kiddo, wonderful young lady, how this is generational and how you have changed things generationally. Does that make sense?
Yes. I totally agree with that. It is absolutely generational, and that is why we are doing what we're doing with the End 1 in 10 campaign, with the Hope Run, with everything we do. It is to break the cycle, because it's an epidemic. It happens in silence and secrecy. 80% of victims know their abusers, and a lot of those are family members. Mm-hmm. And it's a crime of convenience, and so it happens a lot behind closed doors. And you know, so that's why we're doing it, because we want people to understand how deep it is, how secret it is, and that if you don't know anybody who's been sexually abused, it's because you just haven't had the conversation about it.
Yeah.
Because it affects everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Well, that's Mike's goofing around here.
To me, it's just it's amazing when you start thinking about like how prevalent this stuff is in culture. And it's just, man, it just hurts my heart. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Well, and you consider too, if you start doing the research on prostitution, on drug addiction, on alcohol addiction, on sex trafficking, on all of these issues that we deal with as a culture, you will find that the majority of those people were sexually abused as kids.
That's all I wanted to add or draw out was exactly the point you just made. There's who knows how many manifestations this has in the world, that it's just terrible all the way through, from root to fruit. It's garbage, but you're working on this from a place of hunger. I think the thing that hits me is when you come from experience, and look, whether it's you or your child, I mean, gosh, you know, your kiddos are that may even have more impact, I guess, because we want to protect. So, but you're coming from a place that's sustainable, because it's led by God, carried you through it. There's hunger to make this go. It's not just mailing it in. It's not just some fly-by-night thing. It's something God's doing, and He's using you, and you know, a lot of people. But I don't have a question. I'm just taking it in.
Yeah,
learning.
I want to address one of the byproducts of this, and that's shame. Shame is like this black cloud that the enemy places over our lives that we walk under, and yet that's not how we were created to live. And so help unpack a little bit of the role that shame has played, but like how the gospel, how the hope of Christ has pierced that cloud of shame. Like, what's your experience with that?
In our experience?
Well, yeah, just in general, and what you see with people that you guys walk with all the time.
Yes, shame is with sexual trauma. You know, you can have shame from anything. You can have shame from drinking too much. You can have shame for yelling at your kids. You can put shame on yourself. The thing about sexual trauma is that somebody else is putting shame on you, and so you are taking on the weight of this shame that someone else has clothed you with, and so for whatever reason, it's that much harder to take it off. And so for us, just to see the weight of shame lifted from women, I'm talking like we were at our board meeting the other night. We were just talking about, the impact that we're seeing, and just how there's some women who come through the groups who the first week are just, shut down, don't want to, and at some point in the first group, they catch on that these people share the experience, they carry the shame also, and they come back the next week or the third week, and it's almost like the shame is starting to lift and they're seeing freedom. And just to know that you're not alone, that you have not been the only one who's experienced this, is a huge weight lifted, and allows you to just kind of start taking off those layers of shame that somebody else has put on you. So, and it's been really neat over the past year. My daughter, she took the Journey to Heal study, and she went from not wanting to talk at all about her abuse to now she's on social media with me, not freely, of course, but with me, telling her story and sharing what she's been through, and just to see that shame lifted off of her, it's totally God.
Yeah.
Because for years we've been dealing with this. We've been unpacking this for years, and it wasn't until she let God in just a little bit that we saw the shame start lifting, and it's just amazing.
Flicker of light. Yeah. Light a match in a canyon, and it'll light it up.
Yeah,
it always wins. So I think one of the questions, I guess, that comes to mind for me, or at least a thought to maybe touch on, is the downside of allowing this to stay in that place. So we talk about healing, and that's we're after that. So let's look at maybe a deterrent in holding that in out of fear or whatever, or not engaging this. What are the downsides? Well, we talk about, you mentioned prostitution and that kind of stuff, but do a lot of these people, and maybe men and women both, just generally, become abusers themselves? Is that, and I don't know that much about this, but that seems to be a, broken brakes, broken on and on and on. Is that something that you guys have seen or addressed, or
yes, that, and so they they can become abusers themselves, sexual abusers, sexual predators, but there's also other ways that it comes out in marriage and intimacy issues.
Okay.
And really just the way you treat people. I know that for several people that I've been with through this, one of the ways it comes out is in controlling the situation.
Okay.
And just...
We've just got to let you know we got like 10 seconds.
Okay. Just feeling like you have to control everything.
Okay. Well, we'll jump right back on that next segment.
Absolutely, guys. We are taking a short break here. Emily Parker in studio from Journey to Heal Ministries. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you, Print. We'll be back right after this. Hello and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of our show, Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, the co-founders of Uprint. Show is all about helping you live out your faith where you spend the majority of your times, and that is between Sundays. Many thanks to Nick Craig in the studios here at 106.7 FM, Wilmington's Big Talker, WFBT, for putting this on. We are on every single Sunday from 12 to 2 p.m. On the Big Talker. Live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Wednesday from 1 to 3. Appreciate you tuning in, letting us know where you're listening from, and asking any questions. Today we're joined in studio by Miss Emily Parker, sharing a powerful story about sexual abuse, sexual trauma, and kind of her heart to join with Journey to Heal Ministries to make an awareness of this and to put an end to it, quite frankly. And so that is super awesome. We're going to jump on that here in just a second. I want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible, one of those being Melissa the Coach. Melissa the Coach is a speaker and personal finance coach who helps people live intentionally by teaching them to manage money the way God intended. You can connect with her, Melissa the Coach, at gmail.com, online at melissathecoach.com, or via phone 910-338-9612. Emily, before the break, we've talked about a lot today. We talked about the hope that's available when people do step into healing their past. But Kevin had asked a great question. You brought up some great points about the problems that exist when people stay in this place, kind of covered in the shame of their past. Talk a little bit more about that.
Well, obviously, what we were talking about, what I mentioned earlier, the alcohol abuse, it can lead to prostitution, drug abuse, all these things, but there's also smaller things that kind of just eat away at your life, like obsessive compulsive disorder, like things that come out that just really are hard for people to control. We see a lot of divorce, intimacy issues, just
you mentioned
depression.
Controlling.
Yes, just the need to control every situation, and you can't. You can only control yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, just a lot of those things that come up. And, it's easy to think, well, it's because my life is so stressful, or it's because I have this many kids and, just all these things. But really at the root of it, it is, if you've experienced sexual trauma, there is a good chance that that's where it's stemming from. So
that's great. I mean, it's great to just shed the light. Mm-hmm. And I think what's really important about that is you've got these incredibly terrible, deep things that are so obvious, like, oh my gosh, that's the life that's really messed up. But then you're going to these things that are almost so easy to sweep under the rug, this compulsive thing or these marital problems. And, marriage is hard enough.
Yeah.
And we love our spouses. Yay, we all have great spouses. But it's hard enough without all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really good. Let's keep going, but maybe transition into, what's next? What are you working on? And what's Journey to Heal doing right this minute?
So right this minute, actually yesterday we launched the End 1 in 10 campaign, which is this beautiful shirt. And that actually was started by Crystal, the author of Journey to Heal, and my daughter, Kayla. And it really is just a way for everybody to use their voice, raise awareness, learn about body safety, how to teach your kids about body safety. We have lots of resources at that website, journeytohealministries.org/end1in10. And really just to make it so it isn't an epidemic anymore. We can't end child sexual abuse because we live in a fallen world, but we can lower those numbers, and so we can end 1 in 10 in that aspect.
Tell us a little bit about Kayla's heart for this, not necessarily the struggle and what she's been through, but just how she lights up. And you said she's kind of stepping in and stepping out and really getting her voice.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Because I am so deep in the Journey to Heal Ministries volunteering, I told her when Crystal asked, you can do this, but I can't do it for you. So if you want to do this, you go for it.
Yeah.
I'll support you. And she really has, man. She has stepped into her role. She has had meetings with Crystal. She has really put herself out there and said, I may be embarrassed at first, but if it helps one person, then that's what I'm going to do. So it's just been awesome to see her blossom. And I know it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So
even having spent a little bit of time around her, and just she's so mature, so settled. And of course, every parent's got their, we've got to manage our kiddos, but from an outsider perspective, you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And gosh, just big things ahead for that young lady.
Yeah.
I can just feel that. But anyway, let's keep going and talk about the connection between Journey to Heal and the race and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to let our listeners know, we had Crystal on the broadcast. Gosh, it's probably been 6 months ago or so.
Yeah.
But Crystal shared, her story and a lot about Journey to Heal. I just want to encourage our listeners and viewers to go back on the podcast, and they can check that out there to kind of get a full picture that this is one side of the coin, that's the other side, right?
Yeah.
And Crystal put some links here in the show today for folks that want to get plugged into the N1 and 10. Tell folks how they could get involved specifically in N1 and 10. I mean, I know go to Journey to Heal, .org/N1 and 10. But talk about the hashtag, talk about how that, and then talk about the upcoming race at Brunswick Forest.
Okay, so to get involved, you really can just go to the website, order a shirt, wear the shirt, and then let the conversation start. People want to know what it means, and it's an opportunity, whether you've been a victim of sexual abuse or not, to go, this is not okay, and these are the numbers, these are the statistics, and this is what we can do to change that. And it really does not take long. I mean, you can spend 30 minutes educating yourself on the numbers and on prevention and make a huge difference in a child's life. So educate yourself and post on social media with your shirt on, with the hashtag N1 and 10.
It's a cool looking shirt, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Really cool.
So it's super simple. It's really not hard. And then as a segue, I guess, into the race, it would be awesome if you would go buy a shirt and then register for the race and register under the N1 and 10 team, which we will be setting up soon. So just to rally around for our kids and for survivors of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
So go get a T-shirt and register for the race. We've got a couple minutes left in the segment here. Let's talk about the race. This is the Rise Up Race Series.
Yes.
You guys have partnered with a couple of other ministries, nonprofits, to have a 3-part race series. You guys are kicking it off with the Hope Run.
Yep.
And we're tickled that you guys thought of us to be involved in this and be out there. I'm going to have to get my rear end in motion and try to run around a little bit. I might do the power walk. I might do the little thing, let my kids run around.
You can prancercise.
I could do whatever. Yes, we'll go right on down the road. I will.
That's a picture.
Prancercise. That's amazing. That's like an emoji you sent me when I texted you. You're like doing some cartwheel.
It's an Emilyism.
I love it. Talk about this race, the Rise Up Race Series and the Hope Run specifically.
All right. So last year, the Hope Run was an idea. Like at this time last year, we were like, it would be cool if we could do a race. And then it was like, whoa, slow down. We don't know what we're doing. And it honestly, God just kind of got the ball rolling. I'm in a run group with a bunch of ladies called Leland Lady Runners. And the woman who started that, she started talking about putting on a race series. And I said, hey, we want to do a race, so let's get together and make it happen. And so we have. And the Carousel Center has joined in on that race series. So April 27th, we'll be out there kicking off the Rise Up Race Series and raising awareness.
It seems like such a simple thing, but it's such a powerful thing to raise awareness. Just step into knowing about this. Don't let it be covered up anymore. And and anyway, you're a go-getter.
Well, you can do something about it. People watching, listening, they can do something about it.
Yes.
You can take action, or you can just turn the channel. And why are you here?
Yeah.
Let's do something about this.
Or you can sit on Facebook and go, oh, that makes me mad.
And not
Oh,
do
that makes
anything.
me mad. Oh, that makes me mad.
And it has generational impact.
Right.
Yes.
That's a huge thing when you think 20, 30, 50 years out, what you do, even wearing a T-shirt,
Right,
can matter.
It matters. Well, we're wrapping up the segment here, but we want to make sure that our listeners and viewers are a part of this as we are. So you can go to journeytohealministries.org/N1N10 to join that, and then /Hope Run to get registered for the Hope Run. Join us out there on April 27th. Crystal has been awesome to put that in the comments here for those that are watching it on Facebook Live. Emily, thank you.
Thank you
for being brave and courageous and raising awareness and stepping in. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.
Appreciate you guys. We're going to take a short break. Be back for our last segment on faith in business right after this. Hello and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of Wake Up Our Faith, a weekly show from Uprint. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, the co-founders of Uprint. We have had a fantastic show today. I'm so grateful for Emily just being courageous enough to share her story. She joined us there and got to talk about Journey to Heal Ministries. We so appreciate her vulnerability and willingness to do that, and believe that it will really help change and transform people's lives that can get involved and step into this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the kind of partnerships and peripheral ministries that we stand behind and want to support. I mean, that one's got huge impact. It's very tangible, and yet it's very simple to get involved. So no arguments, right?
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. I think one of the things that we talk about, within this context of the show, Kev, is faith in business. And when you can tell when people are truly inviting faith into, whether it's their nonprofit or their family life or whatever, the kingdom is united. Yeah. It's not divided.
Right.
It's not nonprofits fighting over a dime. It's folks that are saying, like, we have this vision and this mission, and we're stepping into it.
Right.
And it all works together. It's not competitive.
It does. It's one body, many parts. It does. It really works together, and when we have a heart to just jump in. But I don't know. We could talk all day about the Parker family. They're just great. Got to see Kayla just now, and she's just so young. God's just got big plans for her. But wonderful folks, wonderful family, wonderful ministry, and journey to heal. So we'll continue to speak about that and the race coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we just it's an honor to be involved in this, Kev. And one of the things I continue to see evolve is just our ability to connect and to be a conduit and a network for people who are looking to get plugged in.
Right.
One of the things that I think would be remiss to not talk about is what we do as an organization and how it coincides with folks who are walking through past pain points like this.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin, you head up, our mentoring discipleship arm, so you deal with a lot of people in one-to-one conversations who have wrestled with these past pain points. And just talk to that for a minute for the viewers that are listening and watching about, because here's the deal. So many people, Kevin, are hesitant or afraid or cautious to jump into mentoring, counseling, consulting, coaching, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But it is what transforms their life.
It does. Yeah, it's funny. People will say, I'm in, I want to do it. And then they'll, for whatever reason, something between will get in the way and fear, whatever obstacle, and then we won't hear back for a while. But then they cycle back eventually, and I see that it's very common. I'll get texts from people. Sometimes I call it mentoring by text. People will kind of jump out or not quite connect, but they'll text me and say, "Man, I'm having this kind of problem or struggling with this," and I spend time doing that. But ultimately, what we're after is what did Jesus do? What did he do? From an earthly ministry, not just being the Redeemer, but just this incredibly gifted man who gave his life while he was living and beyond. What did he do? He discipled people. He spent time with them. He met people face to face and helped them. And so that's what we do. And that's the big thing that's missing when you try to do it all on Sunday. It doesn't work. Yeah. So anyway,
I think the world thinks it's crazy to, be discipled or be in that relationship. But in the gospel context, it's crazy not to.
Exactly.
Everybody has to be. It has to happen.
Yeah.
And we look at it as odd or different or weird or I don't want to be in my business or whatever. But you stay in these same stuck places and wonder, why that there's not transformation. I think about Paul constantly when he said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
And yet the same level of thinking that got you into your situation is not going to get you out.
That's right.
And so when people live that way, it just baffles my...
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing are these behavior patterns, and we could talk about that, with Emily a little bit in that specific struggle or problem that can become generational and turn into all these other ugly things. But strongholds, if you want to put it into a greater context, come from a variety of painful events, things that are traumatic, things that crush the soul or bruise it or scar it. And those things become manifest in behavior patterns, and they're negative behavior. And they lead us away from living that full, faithful, satisfying life that blesses others into a self-preservation, will-powered, striving struggle that never quite gets purpose. And it's so fast that you just don't have time for anything else. What is the investment that you're willing to make in God? Well, you're really making that investment in yourself. Anything else is peripheral. So mentoring, discipleship, coaching, whatever you want to call it, helps unearth those things and get them out. And we see it over and over again. People go, oh my gosh, this has helped me. This has changed my life. I've heard that a lot, and I'm not saying it from a place of, oh, look at me. I'm saying it, man, my heart swells because people need it. But so many people won't engage it because they're afraid or for one reason or another, but it's needed.
I look at any great successful business person, icon, and whatever you want to look at. I mean, just put whoever you want to up there on the pedestal. They all have someone that's walking with them through various aspects of their life.
Sure.
Whether it's their physical health, a personal trainer, all these different things, their business mindset, executive coaching, spirituality, it's there. You can't run from it. You can't, it's necessary. And so we have to stop treating it that has this stigma on it and just jump and dive in.
Yeah.
And once you do, it starts to unpack and just evolve. And, I remember this is like a couple of years ago, the Stephen Covey book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. When I was thinking about that, God gave me a picture of someone's eulogy being read. And, would you say he lived an effective life? I mean, surely nobody wants to die and be remembered as effective.
Yeah.
And as a Christian, right? As a Christian, you want to be remembered as faithful. Well done, my good and faithful. We've talked about that from your book. It ain't about fame. It ain't about popular. It's about faithfulness.
That's right.
So why do we invest time and energy and resources into becoming more effective and neglect becoming more faithful? It's insane.
Yeah, it is.
And so we turn that on its head. That's the innovation that we bring to the table with our organization.
Right.
Is to help people focus in the right area.
Yeah. And in the context of this hour, and with we had Emily on, and we have other guests regularly now, we're trying to show examples of how to carry this out during the week, and in particular in the context of business, but whatever you're doing in your daily life is contributing to your family, to the world around you, and so we call that business. It's really more about the week and the time spent. But you can do it. You don't have to shove this all into Sunday. So there's a very personal aspect to it, but it also manifests itself in everything you do. And that's the way it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be put in a box. And when we are courageous enough to go, I'm in, and then all the hypocrisy falls away, and God does amazing things. God can do anything, but he will do anything when we let go and just let him. But he won't force it on us, So it takes a little bit of courage, but if you'll give just a little bit, man, he will step in and blow the doors off.
I've been reading in the book of Joshua as of late, kind of in my quiet time, and we've talked about this on the air, but it's just prevalent to the conversation now. When you step in and let faith drive it, it likely is not going to look the way the world thinks it's going to look.
Right.
He said, how did you capture Jericho? We blew trumpets and marched around for 6 days. But that's what they did, right? And we say it's the behest of logic that these things happen. But this is in our lives today, all of this greatness, it happens by people who are courageous enough to press in and follow where God leads.
Right.
Let him give the victory. He get the credit, and he gives us the victory. And people are so terrified to live this way, and it baffles me. And I was for years. I kind of came around. I'm like, what the heck, everybody? Wake up.
Yeah. Well, you look at great people through history, and you see them, they come and go. What's the key element? It's courage. And courage in Christianity looks like faith. So just step in just a little bit, and God will do the heavy lifting.
Beautiful, guys. Connect with us at uprint.life or wakeupmyfaith.com. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams. See you next week.